Welcome to Within She Rises, your new favorite channel for powerful stories of transformation, awakening, resilience, and the hidden forces that shape our lives. Tonight's story is about a man who survived the war, but could not survive the memories. A man haunted not by enemies, but by himself. For years he carried a burden too heavy to share, until one silent moonlit night, a mysterious woman appeared and offered him something he believed he no longer deserved: peace. This is the soldier and the silent moon. Far from the cities, beyond the crowded roads and restless lights, there lived a man named Gabriel Thorne. Years earlier, he had served as a soldier. Now he lived alone in a small cabin surrounded by forests and mountains. The world believed he had found peace, but the world was wrong. Every night, the same memories returned, the same faces, the same regrets, the same unanswered questions. And no matter how far he traveled, they always followed. Gabriel rarely spoke about the war, not because he had forgotten, because he remembered too much. Some wounds heal, others simply learn how to hide. During the day, he repaired fences, chopped wood, walked through the forest, performed the rituals of an ordinary life. But at night, the silence became unbearable. Sleep brought dreams, dreams brought memories, and memories brought pain. One autumn evening, unable to endure the walls of the cabin any longer, Gabriel climbed a narrow mountain trail. The forest below disappeared beneath silver mist. Above him, the moon hung impossibly large, silent, watching, waiting. Hours passed, yet somehow, the night felt different, as though something ancient had awakened beneath the stars. Then, suddenly, he heard footsteps, soft, unhurried, impossible, because no one lived for miles. Gabriel turned, and there she was, standing at the edge of the cliff, a woman dressed in flowing midnight blue silk. The moonlight danced across the fabric like moving water. Her face remained hidden beneath shadow. Yet something about her presence felt strangely familiar, not familiar to his mind, familiar to his soul. The woman gazed toward the horizon, as though she had known he would come, as though she had been waiting for a very long time. "You shouldn't be here," Gabriel said quietly. The woman smiled faintly, neither offended nor surprised. Instead, she asked, "Why do you believe peace belongs to everyone except you?" The question struck him like thunder. His chest tightened instantly. Because she had spoken the one thought he never shared with anyone, the one burden he carried alone for years. Gabriel stared at her, unable to answer, and somehow, she already understood why. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The wind moved gently across the mountain. The silent moon watched from above. And finally, Gabriel looked away, because some things can't be forgiven. The words left his mouth like stones falling into deep water. Heavy. Final. Ancient. The woman remained still. "Who told you that?" Gabriel frowned. "What? Who told you that some wounds place a person beyond forgiveness?" He opened his mouth, then stopped, because he realized he did not know. The woman stepped closer. Moonlight shimmered across her midnight blue silk. "You built a prison." Gabriel's expression hardened. "I didn't build anything." The woman looked toward the mountains. "Didn't you?" The wind grew quieter. "You survived. You came home. You continued living." Yet every word sounded strangely incomplete. Then she said softly, "But you never allowed yourself to return." Something deep inside Gabriel trembled, because for years, he had remained trapped inside a war that ended long ago. Gabriel felt anger rising, not toward her, toward himself, because every word was true. "I remember people I couldn't save." His voice cracked. "I remember mistakes. I remember promises I couldn't keep. The mountains remained silent. The moon remained silent. The woman remained silent, allowing him to speak for the first time. Without interruption, without judgment, without fear, and slowly, years of pain began finding words. When he finally finished, the night felt different, lighter somehow. The woman looked toward the moon. "Do you know why the moon appears peaceful?" Gabriel frowned. "No," she smiled softly. "Because it does not fight the darkness around it." The silver light stretched across the valley. The moon does not erase the night. It shines within it. Gabriel stared upward. Something about those words felt important. But he did not yet understand why. The Lady of Dreams turned toward him. "You think healing means forgetting?" Gabriel listened carefully. "You think peace means erasing the past?" The moonlight danced across the cliffs. "But healing is not forgetting, and peace is not erasing." She stepped closer. "Healing is remembering without being destroyed." The words settled deep inside him, like something his soul had waited years to hear. The Lady of Dreams turned toward the valley below. The moonlight shimmered across the mountains. Then she raised her hand, and something impossible happened. The landscape began to change. The forest dissolved into silver mist. The cliffs faded into shadow, and slowly a hidden valley emerged, a place Gabriel had never seen before. Yet somehow, recognized immediately, the moment his eyes fell upon it, his heart stopped, because this was not a place in the world. It was a place inside him. Scattered throughout the valley were memories, thousands of them, some beautiful, some painful, some almost forgotten. Gabriel saw childhood summers beneath golden skies, the face of his mother, his first love, moments of laughter he had not remembered in decades. But farther ahead stood one memory alone, waiting. The memory, the one he spent years trying not to see. The one that visited him every night. The one that convinced him he did not deserve peace. Gabriel froze. His entire body tightened. No. The word escaped before he could stop it. The Lady of Dreams remained beside him, silent, patient, compassionate. The memory unfolded. He saw himself years ago, young, exhausted, afraid. A terrible moment from the war. A moment he had replayed 1,000 times. A decision, a loss, a goodbye that came too soon. Gabriel closed his eyes, unable to bear it. Then the Lady of Dreams spoke. For the first time, her voice carried sadness. "You keep returning to this moment." Gabriel remained silent. "You revisit it every night, every year, every season." The moonlight shimmered across the valley, as though suffering long enough might somehow change what happened. The truth struck him instantly, because that was exactly what he had been doing, punishing himself. Again, and again, and again, as if pain were a debt that could never be fully paid. A tear slid down Gabriel's face, then another. For years, he had believed forgiveness was something earned, something deserved, something granted only after enough suffering. The Lady of Dreams looked toward the silent moon. Then she asked, "If the person you lost were standing here now, what would they want for you?" Gabriel's breath caught. The valley grew still. The stars seemed to hold their breath. And deep inside, he already knew the answer. For the first time in years, Gabriel stopped listening to his guilt and listened instead to love. The answer arrived immediately, clear, certain, undeniable. Peace. They would want peace, not punishment, not endless sorrow, peace. And suddenly, everything changed. The valley glowed softly beneath the silent moon. The memories remained, the losses remained, the scars remained. Nothing had been erased, nothing had been rewritten, nothing had been undone. And yet the weight was gone. Gabriel finally understood. Healing was never about changing the past. It was about changing his relationship with it. For years, he had carried his memories like chains. Now, he carried them like stories. Stories of love, stories of sacrifice, stories of people who mattered. And because they mattered, they deserved remembrance, not imprisonment. Gabriel turned toward the Lady of Dreams. The midnight blue silk moved softly in the wind. For a moment neither spoke. Words no longer seemed necessary. Then Gabriel asked quietly, "Why did you come for me?" The woman looked toward the moon, as though listening to something older than time itself. Then she smiled. "Because you confused guilt with love." The answer struck deeper than anything she had said before. You believed holding on to pain honored the people you lost. The wind moved across the valley. But love does not ask us to suffer forever. The stars shimmered overhead. Love asks us to live. Gabriel looked up. The silent moon filled the heavens, and for the first time in years, he felt something unfamiliar. Hope, not loud, not dramatic, not overwhelming, just quiet, steady, real. The kind of hope that arrives after the storm has passed. The kind that asks for nothing. The kind that simply stays. Then he turned back, toward the Lady of Dreams. But she was already fading. Like mist beneath morning sunlight. Like a dream awakening into memory. The next morning, Gabriel awoke inside his cabin. Sunlight streamed through the windows. The mountains stood exactly where they always had. The forest remained unchanged. The world looked the same. Yet somehow, everything felt different. That day he opened the letters he had spent years avoiding. He visited places he had refused to revisit. He spoke names he had not spoken aloud in a very long time. Not to relive the pain, but to honor the love. And little by little, life returned. Years later, people who met Gabriel often described him the same way. Peaceful, not because he had forgotten, not because he had escaped suffering, but because he had made room for both grief and gratitude to exist together. And sometimes, on nights when the moon hung large above the mountains, he would step outside, look toward the horizon, and smile. Because somewhere beyond the veil between dreams and waking, he knew she was still there, the Lady of Dreams, watching, waiting, guiding lost souls home beneath the silent moon. If this story touched something inside you, perhaps it is because there is something you still carry, a memory, a regret, a loss, a wound that has remained with you longer than you expected. But remember this, healing does not mean forgetting. Peace does not mean erasing the past. And love does not ask us to suffer forever. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is allow ourselves to live again. If you enjoyed this journey, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Within She Rises for more powerful stories of awakening, resilience, transformation, and the hidden mysteries of the human soul. And tell us in the comments, what lesson from the silent moon will stay with you? Until next time, keep rising.